It was Columbus Day. I had been so sick for months and had no idea that my doctor would say to me that I had chronic lung disease and would need oxygen 24/7. I was a gymnast for over 30 years. I was passionate about the sport. I loved every aspect about the sport. I remember one competition where I was trying to qualify for the state championship. I was at the last event and I needed an extraordinary score, and I ran down the runway, jumped off the springboard over the vault, and nailed a 9.45. I remember the cheers from the crowd that day. My mother was in the audience, my husband was on the floor. It was tremendous. I'll never forget the sound or the feeling.
Scientists look at a cell or at an organism or at a virus, and they don't just see the whole entity. They see through that and look at the individual pieces. And by unraveling those pieces come the tools and the building blocks that the scientists can then put back together in a different way. And it's by reassembling those into a new way that often provides the solution to a disease.
I would cough 24 hours a day, which then in turn, pains in the side, pains in the back, headaches, swollen glands, and a lot of weakness. So it's been very difficult to have this new life where I cannot be the physical person that I once was.
Scientists can ask, how can I solve this problem? And the first step, of course, is to learn everything that's known about the particular disease, about diabetes, about cancer, about infection. But the second step is the scientist has to imagine how it could be different. Albert Einstein said, imagination is more powerful than knowledge. Science is creative. Science is imaginative. And like an artist looks at a canvas and sees how all the colors and shapes will fit together to make the final painting. It's as if the artist is revealing the painting from the canvas. And that's what scientists do. Scientists look at the disease and they reveal the solution and they deliver that solution to the world.
We had defined a molecule that seems to be involved very greatly with inflammation and the lung. Presenting this to our clinical group, clinicians said, well, what about this in my chronic lung disease patients? And it was a sort of, oh yeah, well, let's start looking at it in there. So we looked at patients with the chronic lung disease and found that this molecule was higher in those patients than in normal controls.
The scientists at the Institute have been studying a molecule which we believe may unravel the mystery about development of some of these advanced lung diseases. More interesting is they've also developed a molecule which can block these products and can be used as a therapeutic agents in patients with advanced lung disease, and hopefully we can stop the progression of the disease, and the utopian goal would be to see if we can just regress that process. I can't say that we are there yet, but in next coming few years, this certainly is a possibility.
Once the discovery is made in the lab, once the idea that this approach to changing or utilizing a new molecule can cure a particular disease, it becomes essential that the scientists collaborate with and work seamlessly with clinicians and clinical investigators who understand the disease in the patients.
I think we need the clinicians and the basic research scientists to be working together very closely to make these breakthroughs.
Clinicians are trained, or rather they are hardwired to take care of patients. We need the support and collaboration with scientists who have a much further insight into the etiopathogenesis and the mechanism as to how the disease process involves. Meeting of these two minds is important to move the field further.
The whole reason that I'm working in research is to produce something that will benefit the patients. When I say benefit the patients, it benefits us all.
Knowing that my doctors have teamed up with scientists and are making advances in chronic lung disease, I am so elated. I look forward to a better tomorrow.
As a direct result of scientific discovery and advances in understanding medicine and biology, diseases have been essentially eradicated or cured. Smallpox, tuberculosis, polio, rabies. These are all essentially eradicated in large parts of the world or curable. Many forms of cancer, which were uniformly fatal just decades ago, are now uniformly curable. In the future, the most successful approach to curing disease is going to come from environments where there's a seamless collaboration between scientists and clinical investigators. It is an extremely difficult, expensive, and time-consuming process to go from discovery all the way to clinical utility. And one of the few things you can do to make this more efficient is to have the experts on both ends of the spectrum collaborating and working together in the same place. Collaboration has to be part of the culture as a key ingredient to how the organization works.
If it wasn't for my disease, I would still be competing to this day. But with this new research, I am hopeful that I'll hear those cheers again one day.